Hello and welcome. We are live from New Delhi. You're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Abhishek. Coming up in the next hour, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi to share his thoughts in a monthly radio program, Mann Ki Baat, at 11 a.m. IST. Israel launches preemptive strikes at Lebanon to avert large-scale Hezbollah attack, declares emergency for next 48 hours. German police arrest key suspect in Friday's knife attack in Solingen. Second arrest in 24 hours. Terrorist group Islamic State claims responsibility of the attack. An American space agency, NASA, announces plan to return stranded astronauts from space next year. Wildfires in Brazil, Sao Paulo state disrupt normal lives. Dozens of cities are on high alert. News in detail now. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi will share his thoughts with the people of the country and abroad in the monthly radio program Mann Ki Baat on Sunday at 11 a.m. IST. The program will be broadcast on the entire network of Akashvani and Doordarshan. It will also be live streamed on the YouTube channels of AIR News, DD News, DD India, PMO and Information and Broadcasting Ministry. And India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be visiting Jalgaon in the state of Maharashtra on Sunday to distribute certificates to 1.1 million new Lakhpati Didis and to release fresh funds for women entrepreneurs. The Prime Minister will distribute certificates and felicitate 11 lakh beneficiaries. The scheme aims to provide financial assistance to women entrepreneurs and help them achieve financial independence. Lakhpati Didis are those who earn 100,000 rupees or more annually. Prime Minister will also interact with the beneficiaries of the scheme from across the country. And India's Defence Minister Rajnath Singh visited the Naval Surface Warfare Centre at Kardok and witnessed the path-breaking experiments at the facility on his ongoing 4-day visit to the US. Rajnath Singh said India and the US look forward to work together and benefit from each other's experiences. Meanwhile, the US government has given its nod to the sale of anti-submarine warfare sonobuoys to India. The anti-submarine gear is likely to cost $52 million and may give a major boost to India's anti-submarine warfare capabilities in Indo-Pacific and the IOR region.
Defense Minister Rajnath Singh, who is on a 4-day visit to the United States, met US National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan on Friday. The two leaders discussed ongoing defense industrial collaboration projects between India and the US and potential areas where their industries could work together. In the meeting that took place at the White House in Washington, D.C., they also discussed the evolving geopolitical situation and other key regional security issues. The defense minister later held a roundtable discussion with leading defense companies. He also invited US defense manufacturers to India. Meanwhile, in a major boost to the Indo-US defense cooperation, the US approved a $52.8 million government-to-government deal for sale of anti-submarine warfare sonobuoys that will be integrated with Indian Navy's Romeo helicopters. The deal is likely to strengthen India's capabilities to meet current and future threats by enhancing its capacity to conduct anti-submarine warfare operations from its MH-60R helicopters in the Indian Ocean region and the Indo-Pacific region as well. Earlier, Rajnath Singh also met Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin, where the two leaders held wide-ranging discussions on bilateral defense cooperation, industrial collaboration, regional security, and other international issues. Both the leaders also discussed India-US defense industrial cooperation roadmap that was signed last year, which is likely to transform the defense industry of both the nations. Akshay Dongre, DD India.
And Foreign Affairs Minister of Brazil, Mauro Vieira, will arrive in New Delhi on Sunday on a 4-day visit to India. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Shankar and his Brazilian counterpart will co-chair the 9th India-Brazil Joint Commission meeting on Tuesday. The ministers will also discuss how the two countries as Troika can advance key G20 outcomes from the Indian presidency last year. Brazilian Foreign Minister's visit will provide an opportunity to further strengthen the strategic partnership established in 2006 and explore new avenues of cooperation in bilateral, regional and multilateral arenas across diverse sectors. And the second round of the India-Singapore Ministerial Roundtable will be held in Singapore on Monday. India's Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman, External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Shankar, Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal, Railways, IT, Information and Broadcasting Minister Ashwini Vaishnav will participate in the roundtable. The meeting will enable both sides to review various aspects of their strategic partnership and identify new avenues to further elevate and broaden it. The India-Singapore Ministerial Roundtable is a unique mechanism established to set a new agenda for India-Singapore bilateral relations. Its inaugural meeting was held in New Delhi in September 2022. During the visit, the ministers will interact with their counterparts and will also call on Singaporean leadership. And India's Home Minister Amit Shah announced that the fight against Maoists is now reaching its final stage and asserted that it is time to launch a decisive and uncompromising campaign against left-wing extremism. Speaking to the media during his visit to Chhattisgarh, the minister assured that the country will be completely freed from the Naxal problem by March 2026.
2014 से 24 तक सबसे कम वामपंथी उग्रवादियों द्वारा की गई घटनाएं दर्ज की गई। 4 से 14 तक 16,463 घटनाएं हुई थी और 14 से 24 तक 7,744 हुई है, तो 53% घटनाओं की कमी आई। हमारी लड़ाई अंतिम चरण में पहुंची है और हम देश को 2026 मार्च तक पूर्णतया नक्सल समस्या से मुक्त कर पाएंगे।
And the Indian Navy's warship INS Mumbai will arrive in Colombo on Monday for a 3-day visit. The Sri Lanka Navy will ceremonially receive the ship. During its stay, INS Mumbai will deliver essential spare parts for the Dornier maritime patrol aircraft operated by Sri Lanka Air Force. Along with this, INS Mumbai will also conduct joint activities with the Sri Lanka Navy, including sports events and yoga sessions. INS Mumbai is the third of Delhi-class destroyers and commissioned on January 2001. And India and Sri Lanka have successfully concluded the 10th edition of their joint military exercise Mitra Shakti, reflecting the growing defence cooperation and mutual trust. This year's edition of Mitra Shakti was marked by the participation of over 100 personnel from each country engaged in a series of tactical drills, field training exercises and live firing exercises. The exercise helped both armies to understand each other's doctrines, tactics and procedures to evolve drills while operating in counter-terrorism, regional security and peacekeeping operations. Moreover, the exercise serves as a platform for both nations to address common security concerns, including maritime security, anti-terrorism and disaster response. The successful conduct of Mitra Shakti 2024 is a clear indicator of the strong bond between India and Sri Lanka. As the monsoon continues to lash parts of the country, the Indian Met Department has issued a rainfall alert of heavy to extremely heavy rainfall at various places. The Indian Met Department has predicted extremely heavy rainfall at isolated places during the next 24 hours in western and central parts of the country. Red alert for heavy rainfall has been issued for Gujarat, Maharashtra and Rajasthan. Heavy rain alert for the next 24 hours at isolated regions of Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh and Kerala. And in India's northeastern state of Tripura, the flood situation slightly improved on Sunday, with rivers flowing above the danger level, receding and aiding in relief and rescue operations. Since morning, despite heavy rainfall prediction by India's Met Department, there has not been much shower in any part of the state. Meanwhile, an all-party meeting to discuss the flood situation was held in Agartala on Saturday under the chairmanship of Chief Minister Manik Saha. Leaders across party lines attended the meeting and deliberated on measures to be taken to provide relief to the people affected by the floods. Talking to reporters, the Chief Minister said that as per preliminary estimates, the state has suffered losses amounting to 15,000 crore. All right, let's go across to Agartala now. DD India's Kunal Shinde is joining us live from there. Kunal, tell us the latest on the flood situation there. All-party meeting was also held yesterday. Also tell us about the relief and rescue operation which is underway.
Well, despite heavy rainfall warning, there hasn't been any rainfall since last 3-4 days. So this is a big thing from the point of view of the flood situation in Tripura, because it is also helping in the rescue and relief operation. Mind you that 5 major rivers in Tripura were flooded. They had crossed the extreme danger level mark, and now only Gomti river is the one. It obviously it falls in the Gomti district, so it is the only river which is flowing above the danger level, and it is a little cause of concern for the administration, because, and also for the rescue team, because they have not been able to carry out the rescue operation as it should be, because still there are some people who are stranded, who are living in the embankment areas. They are stranded, so the rescue team is finding little difficult to reach out to them and bring out to the safe locations. But nevertheless, the food packets are being dropped by the Air Force helicopters, and all the necessary measures are being taken by the administration to ensure that people who are stranded should be brought back to the safer locations. Also, yesterday the all-party meeting was held under the chairmanship of Chief Minister Dr. Manik Saha. It was an important meeting from the point of view of the state, and also because the government had to reach out to the opposition to inform about the damage the floods have caused in the state. If we talk about the state districts which have been badly affected because of the floods are South Tripura, then Gomti district is the one, Unakoti is the another district which has suffered huge losses. So in yesterday's meeting, it was a good meeting, as told by the Chief Minister. He said that all party members, they gave very vital suggestion to the government, and the government will act upon it. So what the Chief Minister told the members from the opposition parties was that 15,000 crore rupees loss the state has suffered in the flood, which has been like the state had never seen such a kind of flood. And also one important thing from this meeting was that the government's thrust on education has been badly hampered. Like not only like people have lost their important documents, but even books have been destroyed, and people, and obviously students are suffering because of this. So the Chief Minister has directed the schools to ensure that those students who have lost their books, whose books have been destroyed because of the floods, they should be given free books to these students. Also, 4 lakh rupees compensation ex gratia amount has been announced to the next of the kin of the disease. There are 24 lives have been lost in this recent flood, and 2.5 lakh rupees will be given to the injured. So adequate measures are being taken by the state government to ensure that the state comes back to normal. But also because of the huge losses the state has suffered also in terms of agriculture, power sector, health, and then water and sanitation. So the government is aware of all the things. That is like, also the questions were asked whether like what are the measures the government is taking to see that there is no outbreak of waterborne diseases, because water is highly contaminated. But the Chief Minister said that water tankers will be sent in the areas where the water crisis is been faced. So also to ensure that there is no outbreak of any kind of disease, bleaching powder will also be sprayed. Okay. 700 medical camps have been conducted so far by the government. So adequate, all the necessary measures are been taken by the government on time to time basis. So it will be interesting to see how the assistance or medical aid and other things reach out to the people of the state of Tripura, and also basically to those who are affected because of the floods.
Kunal, also, like you're saying that it hasn't rained much in the last 4-5 days, but what is the forecast for the next few days? And also,
Yes.
till when you think the flood situation is likely to persist?
See, the flood situation in the remaining 4 rivers, Muhri is there, then Khowai River is there. So in these rivers, they are also the major rivers, but only Gomti River is the one which is a cause of concern for the administration from the point of view of rescue and relief operation, because Gomti in Udaipur also even now at this moment the rescue operation is going on. Assam Rifles teams are deployed over there, so they are carrying out the rescue operation. So in the evening time, 2 days ago when we spoke to the Assam Rifle officials, we had personally we had visited that spot. So what the officials over there, they said that in the evening time or at the night time, the water level rises because there has been a breach in the canal. So the water from that side has entered into the city. So there are several houses which are still surrounded by water. So the rescue operation is going on. Forecast, obviously a heavy rainfall warning is there, but as you can see it is bright and sunny. Yesterday also heavy rainfall warning was there, but it did not rain much. Since last 3 days, since 22nd, if I mention that from 22nd onwards, there hasn't been raining much in any part of the state. So this is a big relief for the rescue and relief operation, and also for the people of Tripura and the administration as a whole, because they can reach out to the stranded people and provide the rescue, provide the relief, and also it will help those who are living in the shelter homes, relief camps now, so they can also go back to their houses as the water level is receding.
All right, Kunal, we'll leave it at that. Thank you for your inputs. And latest in the Kolkata rape and murder case, the investigation agency CBI conducting searches at multiple locations in connection with the alleged financial irregularities at RG Medical College and Hospital as part of an ongoing investigation. Also, CBI started a corruption investigation against prime suspect Sandeep Ghosh by filing an FIR on Saturday. Meanwhile, the investigating agency on Saturday conducted the polygraph test of 6 people, including Sandeep Ghosh. However, the polygraph test on the main accused, Sanjay Roy, is likely to take place on Sunday. Kolkata police has also extended prohibitory orders near the state-run RG Medical College and Hospital for an additional week until August 31st. All right, we'll step into a very short break. On the other side, more stories. Keep watching DD India News Hour.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked. We just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Israel Defense Minister Yoav Gallant on Sunday announced a 48-hour nationwide state of emergency from Sunday 6 a.m. local time after the Israeli military launched preemptive strikes in Lebanon. The emergency enables the IDF to issue instructions to citizens of Israel, including limiting gatherings and closing sites where it may be relevant. Israel on Sunday warned that Hezbollah's actions towards Israeli territory could lead to wider regional escalation. The Israeli military said that it was striking Hezbollah targets in Lebanon in self-defense after identifying the group was preparing to launch their attacks on Israeli civilians.
We can see that Hezbollah is preparing to launch an extensive attack on Israel while endangering the Lebanese civilians. We warn the civilians located in the areas where Hezbollah is operating to move out of harm's way immediately for their own safety. Hezbollah's ongoing aggression risks dragging the people of Lebanon, the people of Israel, and the whole region into a wider escalation.
And the military also warned residents to immediately leave areas where Hezbollah was operating, with air alert sirens sounding across the country's north.
The IDF is striking terror targets in Lebanon, from which Hezbollah was planning to launch their attacks on Israeli civilians. This follows more than 6,700 rockets, missiles, and explosive UAVs fired by Hezbollah at Israeli families, homes, and communities since October 8th.
Hezbollah claimed it had launched a barrage of missiles at Israel overnight, targeting a string of military positions. And Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Defense Minister Yoav Gallant attended a meeting at the command center in Tel Aviv. Israel's Prime Minister's office said that they were assessing the situation and the Prime Minister will convene the Security Cabinet shortly. Meanwhile, the Defense Ministry said Gallant briefed U.S. counterpart Lloyd Austin on the overall situation, asserting that Israel was determined to use all the means at its disposal to defend its citizens. The two leaders also discussed the importance of avoiding regional escalation. All right, we'll go across to DD India's Akshay Dongre. He has more information on this. He's joining us live from Delhi. Akshay, Hezbollah announces large-scale attack. Israel begins preemptive strikes. And Hezbollah has launched over 150 projectiles towards Israeli territory. What is the latest you can tell us?
Well, the situation remains tense, Abhishek, as far as the West Asian region is concerned, and something that we are seeing right now unfolding in the West Asia is somewhat similar to what happened in 1967 as well, when similar kind of tensions were seen for several days between Israel and Egypt, and then Israel had launched preemptive strikes not just in Egypt but also in Jordan, in Lebanon, in the neighboring countries, to ensure that its borders are not threatened by the growing hostilities. And somewhat similar happened last night as well. From what we are hearing from our sources in Israel is that Israel has launched a barrage of attacks on military installations in Lebanon, especially from where Hezbollah has been operating. And now, ever since we have seen, the death of, or rather the assassination of Hezbollah commander in the past few days, we have seen that Hezbollah has been challenging Israel and has been threatening it with large-scale attacks, and getting information from its own, secret agents that are operating in the region. It had come to a conclusion that an attack is imminent on Israeli territory from Hezbollah's side. That includes not just missile attacks, but drone attacks and other forms of attacks as well. And that is what Israel is claiming, that to avoid that and to avoid that attack that was imminent, according to Israeli authorities, they launched a preemptive strike. However, how far-reaching consequences will this exchange of attacks will have on the wider region is yet to be known. In fact, all the neighboring powers, including Iran, Syria, Iraq, and other countries, are keeping a close eye on the growing escalation, including Saudi Arabia and other nations that are in the region. And though there have been attempts to de-escalate the crisis for several past weeks, it seems that that hasn't worked out really well for the region. In fact, the tensions keep on growing. What we are seeing is that Israel has been in close coordination with the United States military. We are seeing that several carrier groups of the United States Navy have also, marked their presence in the region from all sides surrounding the region as well. And now this is a heavy presence from the Americans as well, as far as several battle groups are concerned in the region, that in a way has been to ensure that there is no large-scale attack on Israeli territory from Iran and its proxies that are operating in the region, whereas Iran has been expressing that Israel has been continuously vouching for war. It has been asking for war by launching these kind of attacks, by the assassination that have been taking place. So something that started last year from a Hamas attack on Israel has now, in fact, started to evolve into a full-blown war in the region that is not only involving two parties, Hamas and Israel, but a larger escalation of the conflict is taking place as we are seeing. And, the hope of the world, in fact, and the regional neighboring allies as well has been to ensure that the de-escalation starts taking place as soon as possible. But despite repeated requests, it seems that the de-escalation pleas are not working and the tensions are rising. And now we are standing at the edge of a full-blown war between Israel and other powers of the region.
But Akshay, yes, this escalation comes after weeks of growing tensions between them. The situation remains grim, fluid and tense, and further developments are anticipated.
Well, it's highly likely that some sort of escalation further takes place from here unless a concerted effort is made by both the parties as far as ensuring that there's some kind of middle ground is found between the hostile parties there, including Israel, Hezbollah, Iran. So there are several parties at play as far as the ongoing conflict is concerned. While Israel has been consistently carrying out its operations in Gaza, Iran has, the supreme leader of Iran has also said that a revenge has to be taken from Israel as far as the assassination of its commanders are concerned. As far as Iranian commanders are there, Hezbollah, in a way, also is now vouching for revenge as far as the assassination of its commanders are there. And it seems that Israel has not stopped as far as these operations, these assassinations are concerned when it comes to the hostile commanders that have been in the region, that have been preparing their militaries to attack Israel. And it seems that Israel continues with its operation. And while there has been no effort from Israel as well to de-escalate the ongoing conflict, the other parties, the other nations, including Iran and other parties that are at play here, including Hezbollah and Hamas, they are also now strengthening their militaries or their they're ensuring that they are also prepared for a scenario of a full-blown war. So it seems that with both the parties now preparing for the war, a chance of de-escalations seem low. However, there are efforts being made by global parties like India. Other parties have also called for peace to ensure that the region does not go into a full-blown turmoil as well.
It certainly raises the risk of wider conflict. All right, Akshay, keep tracking this story. We'll keep coming to you. United States President Joe Biden has indicated that the ceasefire talks between Israel and Hamas taking place in Cairo are going well. Responding to questions by reporters on the status of Gaza truce talks, Biden gave a thumbs up. Negotiators in the Egyptian capital Cairo discussed new proposals on Saturday seeking to bridge gaps between Israel and Hamas, but there has been no indication of progress after hours of talks.
Gaza ceasefire and hostage negotiators discussed new compromise proposals in Cairo on Saturday, seeking to bridge gaps between Israel and Hamas. A Hamas delegation is in Cairo to be nearer at hand to review any proposals that emerge in the main talks between Israel and the mediating countries Egypt, Qatar, and the United States. Qatari Prime Minister Sheikh Mohammed bin Abdulrahman Al Thani was expected to attend. Months of on-off talks have so far failed to produce a breakthrough in Gaza to free the remaining hostages seized by Hamas in October's 7th attack. Israeli negotiators were in Cairo on Thursday to meet mediators from the United States, which has presented a bridging proposal aimed at resolving continued disputes. In Israel, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has locked horns with Israeli ceasefire negotiators over whether Israeli troops must remain all along the border between Gaza and Egypt. Meanwhile, U.S. Air Force General C.Q. Brown, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, began an unannounced visit to the Middle East on Saturday to discuss ways to avoid any new escalation in tensions that could spiral into a broader conflict as the region braces for a threatened Iranian attack against Israel. Earlier on Friday, Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi and US President Joe Biden in a phone call emphasized the importance of Israel and Hamas, showing flexibility in negotiations over a Gaza ceasefire for hostages deal. Bureau Report, DD India.
Meanwhile, families of hostages held a weekly rally in Tel Aviv on Saturday, calling on the government to immediately secure a deal with Hamas to release their loved ones. The rally comes as negotiators gathered in Cairo for the latest round of Gaza ceasefire talks. Alright, shifting focus now to NASA astronauts. Sunita Williams and Barry Wilmore will now return to Earth on a SpaceX vehicle in February next year. The pair who rode on Boeing Starliner spacecraft to the International Space Station in June were expected to be on an 8-day test mission, but have been stuck for months because of problems with Starliner's spacecraft. The spacecraft faced problems including helium leaks and malfunctioning thrusters on its way to the space station. The agency therefore took the rare decision of reshuffling the two astronauts to a SpaceX mission and returning the Starliner empty. NASA Chief Bill Nelson said that the decision was taken for the safety of its crew.
Space flight is risky, even at its safest, and even at its most routine. And a test flight by nature is neither safe nor routine. And so the decision to keep Butch and Sonny aboard the International Space Station and bring the Boeing Starliner home uncrewed is a result of a commitment to safety. Our core value is safety, and it is our North Star.
A man suspected of a stabbing rampage in the western German town of Solingen has been taken into custody on Saturday after the attack that killed 3 people. North Rhine-Westphalia Interior Minister Herbert Hoyle said the authorities spent the day following a hot lead that led to the arrest. The man was affiliated with a home for refugees that had been searched earlier in the day. Royal added that a manhunt was conducted after the attack, making 2 arrests that were likely not the perpetrator. Earlier, the Islamic State group claimed the responsibility for the attack that occurred in the Fraunhof, a market square in Solingen, during a festival marking the city's 650th anniversary. The attack also wounded 8 people. In the latest updates from Venezuela, prosecutors have summoned opposition candidate Edmundo Gonzalez for questioning on Monday as part of an investigation following the country's disputed presidential polls. Attorney General Tarek William Saab said that Gonzalez will be asked to testify about an opposition website where voting tallies from the July election were posted. Venezuela's National Electoral Authority and its top court have named President Nicolas Maduro as the victor of the July 28 election. All right, time now for another short break. On the other side, more stories. Keep watching DD India News Hour. Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Some more stories. Russia and Ukraine have exchanged 115 prisoners of war from each side, mediated by the United Arab Emirates. Russian Defense Ministry said that the Russian servicemen swapped were captured in the Kursk region by Ukrainian forces. They were now in Belarus and will receive medical treatment and rehabilitation upon their return to Russia. Footage from the Ombudsman of Ukraine showed a large group of Ukrainian servicemen singing their national anthem after their release. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky expressed gratitude for the UAE's role in facilitating the prisoner swap. The latest swap happened over 2 weeks after Kiev launched an incursion into Russia's Kursk region. And peace seems a far-fetched dream in Ukraine, as neither party appears to be backing down. On the 33rd Independence Day of Ukraine, President Volodymyr Zelensky vowed to take revenge on Russia. On the other hand, Russian President Vladimir Putin held a meeting with top military officials on countering the Ukrainian forces in Kursk region.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and his wife Olena Zelenska paid tribute to fallen soldiers on the 33rd Independence Day of Ukraine that was celebrated on Saturday. In an Independence Day video address filmed in the border area from where Kiev launched its surprise incursion to Kursk, Zelensky vowed to take revenge on Russia.
Our enemy will also know what the Ukrainian way retaliation is: worthy, symmetrical, long-ranged. They will know that sooner or later a Ukrainian response will reach any point in Russian Federation that is a source of danger to the life of our state and our people.
Ukraine launched its surprise strike on the Russian region on August 6 in an operation that Kiev says is aimed at carving out a buffer zone and wearing down Russia's war machine. Military analysts see it as an attempt to divert Russian troops from eastern Ukraine, where Moscow's forces continue to advance. Meanwhile, on Saturday, Russian President Vladimir Putin held a meeting with top military officials on countering the Ukrainian forces that invaded the territory of the Kursk region. Later, Putin also listened to reports by telephone from the commanders of the troop groups involved in the special military operation in Ukraine on the operational situation in the areas entrusted to them. On the other hand, UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres expressed concern for the safety of Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant in southeastern Ukraine and the Kursk nuclear power plant in western Russia, urging all parties involved to keep in mind the sensitivity of these nuclear power plants.
It's a pretty clear and present danger to have these two facilities in the presence of the war zone. That's why we have been, from the beginning, asking all parties involved to ensure, with the Ukrainians and the Russians, to ensure the safety and the protection of these power plants, and also full cooperation with our colleagues at the International Atomic Energy Agency.
Bureau Report, DD, India.
All right, we'll go across to Moscow. DD India's Dasha Charnishova is joining us live from there. Dasha, Zelensky vows to take revenge from Russia. What has been the reaction of Russia, and also how's Russia taking the latest statements of Volodymyr Zelensky? The Russian president also met with his top military commanders.
Well, in Russia, there is a very clear understanding that the authorities in Kiev have to be defeated, and the incursion of Russia's Kursk region has been supported by the West. This comes from the repeated statements by the Russian officials, who insist that Moscow will do what it has to do and defeat neo-Nazism as it has defeated terrorism. Moscow has also vowed to revenge and to retaliate against this Ukrainian incursion of Russia's Kursk region, with the Russian officials also maintaining that there will be a response, but at the moment it does seem to be that they are focusing on squeezing the Ukrainian troops out from the Russian territory. So it is just a general line that Moscow says that its special military operation in Ukraine has been absolutely right when they started it, because having such a neighbor where the so-called anti-Russia has been created is too dangerous for the civilian population of Russia.
And also, Dasha, can you give us a sense of what the situation on the ground is as of today in Kursk?
Well, the situation remains tense. We understand that air raid sirens have become the regularity for the residents of Kursk region, of the Kursk city, as well as the neighboring Belgorod region. Actually, in Belgorod region overnight, we've heard that there was a Ukrainian strike that killed at least 5 civilians, according to the local authorities. In the Kursk region, the MOD says they continue to fight against the mobile groups of the Ukrainian armed forces, chasing them in different locations, be it in the forest or in other places of the region, mainly the border districts of the Kursk region. We understand that the authorities have been doing everything they can to protect the civilians who remained in the region, because we know that more than 100,000 people have left. Some have decided to stay, but there are many concerns about the civilian population with regards to their future, with regards to the property they had left, because they ask questions: what's going to happen to their houses? Who is defending their houses? Could there be looters? And they do worry about this situation. They also worry about their future, because on this 1st of September, the school children in Russia will be heading to schools, and there are many questions among their parents and the children themselves. How are they going to go to schools? Where is it going to be distance learning? Where will they get the clothes? Where will they get the books? So all those questions are on the minds of the civilian population of those regions, and that's why Moscow says it is fighting against terrorism in Ukraine, because that was purely an attack against the civilians of Russia.
All right, so the situation remains tense and grim in Kursk region. All right, Dasha, we'll leave it at that. Thank you for getting us the latest from Moscow. Moving on to our next story now. Ghana's main opposition party on Saturday presented its program for the upcoming presidential elections, promising at a rally to stamp out corruption, transform the economy and create jobs. Former President John Dramani Mahama, the National Democratic Congress candidate in December's 7 elections, painted a grim picture of the current state of the West African nation under the rule of the new Patriotic Party administration and its candidate, the current Vice President Mahamudu Bawumia. The party pledged to address unemployment, tackle the alarming depreciation of Ghana's currency, and establish special courts to handle corruption cases. Despite being a major gold and cocoa producer, the country is grappling with its worst economic crisis in years, as it faces galloping inflation and widespread youth unemployment. And northeastern Sao Paulo in Brazil is grappling with large fires that were causing significant damage to large areas of farmland and forests, clocking cities under smoke. The blaze spread to numerous towns in Sao Paulo region and posing a threat to local communities. At least 36 cities have been put on high alert. The state government has also warned that forest fires could spread rapidly from gusts of wind, potentially razing large areas of natural vegetation. Meanwhile, the Sao Paulo state government has created an emergency committee to handle the fires, which had also blocked some 15 highways. Brazil's wildfire season typically peaks in August and September. This year, wildfires started unusually early in Pantanal, the world's largest wetlands, in late May, while the number of fires in Amazon rainforest surged to a 2-decade high for the month of July, government data showed early this month. And Swedish climate activist Greta Thunberg and fellow environmental campaigners on Saturday blocked a small oil terminal at Norway's Karsto gas processing plant. An Extinction Rebellion in Norway representative stated that the group is demanding Norway to phase out oil and gas production to combat climate change. Thunberg emphasized, and I quote, "We cannot stand idly by as the fossil fuel industry robs people of their lives and destabilizes our life support systems," unquote. And more than 1,000 new cases of Mpox have been reported in Democratic Republic of Congo in the past week, raising the total number of infections to over 17,000 since the start of the year. The Central African nation has the highest number of the infectious disease that has now spread to several countries in Africa and a few others in Europe and Asia. DD India correspondent Chris Ochamringa has more from Kinshasa.
The Democratic Republic of Congo has continued recording an increase in Mpox cases across the country. Health officials say more than 600 people have died of the viral disease since January this year. The government has announced the release of $10 million as emergency funds. The money is meant for deploying health workers to treat patients and carry out surveillance around the country. Cases of Mpox have been recorded in all 26 provinces of the DRC. Some of the provinces are experiencing an armed conflict, which has made it difficult for health workers to access patients. A new, more infectious strain of Mpox that was discovered in eastern DRC earlier this year has spread to neighboring countries like Burundi, Kenya, Rwanda, and Uganda. The disease has also been recorded in Sweden, Thailand, Philippines, and Pakistan. Last week, the World Health Organization declared the Mpox outbreak a public health emergency of international concern in order to mobilize resources and prevent it from spreading further. Chris Ochamringa in Kinshasa, reporting for DD India.
All right, sports updates now. We'll start with cricket. Joe Root's gritty unbeaten 62 guided England to a 5-wicket win in the first test against Sri Lanka at Old Trafford on Saturday. Set 205 to win, England were faltering at 56 for 2, where star batsman Joe Root came in shortly before tea on the fourth day. Root shared crucial stands with Harry Brook and Jamie Smith, helping England go 1-0 up by avoiding a score in Manchester. Smith was named player of the match for his 113 in first innings and a crucial cameo in the second. And the 2024 Paralympics torch relay started on Saturday from Stoke Mandeville, England, where the event was first imagined by neurologist Ludwig Guttmann in 1948. British Paralympians Helen Rainsford and Gregor Van lit the Olympic flame and the torch, passing it on to the bearer for the first leg. The torch will then be carried by 24 French athletes who will take over for the journey to Calais and further to Paris, where it will be used to light the Paralympic cauldron during the opening ceremony on Wednesday. And Lorenzo Sonego eased past American 11 seed Alex Michelson in straight sets to win the Winston-Salem Open on Saturday and claim a fourth ATP title. The 10th seed Italian took the first set without dropping a game en route to a dominate 6-0, 6-3 victory in just over an hour. Meanwhile, Michelson received a code violation warning for hitting a ball into the crowd in a show of frustration after going 4-0 down in the opening set. And attracting thousands of spectators, Lithuania's capital Vilnius hosted its third annual corgi racing event at Wingis Park. 100 Welsh, Pembroke and Cardigan corgis from across Europe participated in a costume contest, a sprint competition and a 50-meter race. The event kicked off with a costume contest where corgis showcased various outfits and were judged through live public voting. And that's all for this edition of DD India News Hour, but do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. And we'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Abhishek Mahajan from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India News Hour.